The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlour, eating bread and honey. No, she wasn't. She was couch surfing with Princess Sophia. And the reason why I say that is because this is the paradigm that we live in. This is the paradigm where the largest growth in homeless population is in the demographic of middle-aged women. And I see we've got people coming in. Hello, Katie Garrity. No, I'm sorry, I'm not actually one of the mediums, but you're most welcome to stay and talk to me about creating a new normal and having a paradigm shift. I would love to hear your point of view, but no, I won't be having any messages. I'm sorry, I don't do mediumship. But if you look up Leanne Winston, Jay Lane, Ros Boundy, those ladies who are also located on My Time TV, they will certainly help you out with any reading that you are looking for. But while you're here, why don't you stay and have a chat about changing the paradigm? So what I'm talking about is creating a new normal that's based in loving collaboration, getting away from our fear-based, competition-driven, greed-rewarding society that we live in and starting things to open up and operate a different way. And so some of the symptoms that we're seeing that it's time for a change is what I was just talking about, which is in Australia, one of the largest or most rapidly growing areas of homelessness is in the demographic of middle-aged women or women in their 50s and 60s who, for whatever reason, suddenly find themselves no longer employed. Possibly they've lost their relationship either through death of their spouse or, you know, for whatever reason, the relationship is broken down and they're no longer in that particular relationship. And given the way things have been set up in our economy for people in that particular age bracket, they have had inequality in earning capacity. They've also possibly had not as much super put aside because they were married and possibly out of the workforce for a good number of their working life. So they're disadvantaged in regard to having any super put aside and all of a sudden no income. And regardless of what the circumstances are that get them into this position, our society is not in any way or manner shaped to look after people who all of a sudden don't have an income. And it doesn't matter what demographic you fall into. If you've not got an income, life gets very difficult. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because we did touch last week on the idea of money being not only the source, but the thing that perpetuates this idea of scarcity, of there being not enough in the world. And the more we strive after money, the more it seems to race away from us and the less we have and the more anxious we are about the fact that we've got less money. But over and above that, time is the most precious asset that we have. And we spend a majority of our life exchanging our precious, irretrievable time. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's no way of getting it back. We trade this precious asset that we have for money so that we can live. It's a really strange setup that we've got. And it's been so entrenched in our way of thinking for thousands of years that we think this is the only way to do things. In actual fact, there is evidence that it was done differently prior to the onset of the money system and our current economic situation. And there's an upswell of people like myself, like yourself, like other people who are looking at doing business slightly differently, who are wanting to loosen the collar of the framework that's holding us tight, that are taking the opportunity to step out of that endless, frenetic cycle of go to work, pay the bills, get up, go to work, pay the bills, get up, go to work, pay the bills. people who are having the opportunity to step back and just say, I want to do this differently. Hello, Helen Loberg. How amazing to have you here. It's the way the world super rich need us. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to actually start touching on that. One of the ways that we can actually start making a shift in this area is looking at changing the balance of power in our relationship with money. So as Helen has alluded to, hello, Helen. Lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. I'm so glad you've got time to join in today. And kisses too. Thank you so much. It's been such a long time since we've seen each other. It would be great to see you in real life rather than virtual reality, but this is good for now. So yeah, getting back to what I was saying, one of the things that we can do to start making a change is to recognise the framework that we're in and start calling it for what it is, which is total bullshit really, isn't it? The way things are set up. But Helen, as you've alluded to, it's the way the super rich in the world need us. And I guess, you know, the framework has been set up so that there are 4% of the population of the world who are financially independent, who have the financial literacy, the capacity, the understanding, and have positioned themselves or have inherited the position where they're able to send their money out to work for them. So they're not exchanging their precious time in exchange for money. You know, they're using their precious time to enjoy their life, to make conscious decisions about what their life involves, and to sit back and clearly look at where will I send my money, where it's going to work best for me and earn some more money for me so I don't have to exchange my time for money. It's very good. So that leaves the other 96% of the world living in financial crisis pretty much. It's the way we live these days, stumbling from one financial crisis to the other, living paycheck to paycheck. Hey, Helen, thank you. Yeah, this is something I'm really passionate about, and it's something that touches on 96% of the world. So it's time to change. So for 96% of us, we are living from paycheck to paycheck. We're in financial crisis. There is a huge burden of debt on, you know, the average Mr. and Mrs. Joe. So, and, you know, if you were into conspiracy theories, you could say, yes, we are conditioned to live this way. You know, the myth that we've all bought into is that you go to school, you get good grades, you go and get a job, you get married, you have kids, you do this job for the rest of your life. And, you know, then when you retire, you've saved up a beautiful little nest egg, and that's where you start having your life. Hey, Helen, yeah, a lot of us have been saying this for years. You're absolutely right. In fact, you know, when we first started working together many years ago back in Sydney, I think we might have had a conversation along these lines, fresh out of uni and raring to go. But yes, you're absolutely right. This is something that has been, it's common knowledge, but it's not really spoken about. And I think that's because people feel like there's nowhere to turn. How can they make the change? Well, there are things that you can do, and some of those things include equipping yourself with a different set of financial literacy. Okay, so equipping yourself with the financial literacy that the 4% of the world work to, using their financial foundations as your financial foundations, looking at ways of getting back in control of your money rather than having your money control you. Okay, so when I talk about starting to make a paradigm shift, I always bring it back to what can you do in your own world to start making change. So, you know, as you are all aware, change happens from within, and the only thing you have the power to change is you. So when we start talking paradigm shift, the change starts here. The change starts with you. So what I'm saying to you is you have the opportunity to equip yourself with a different set of financial foundations, a different set of strategies for managing your money, and for positioning yourself to be in control. Once you are in control of your money, you're in control of your world. At the moment, a lot of us are just working 9 to 5, paying bills, feel like we're going backwards fast, getting nowhere. And, you know, the average household hands over between 45 and 50% of its income to the bank, paying debt, whether it's lifestyle debt, whether it's mortgage, you know, whatever it is. That's a fair slap of your money, isn't it? You're going out there working so damn hard, and at the end of the day, you're handing half of that over to the bank. That there's just something not right there. So it comes down to assessing what your situation is and looking at what you can do to change. And you are a being of free will. You have the power of choice. You get to decide. And I know often we get ourselves into a situation that feels really hopeless, and we look around and think, I just cannot see any way clear of this. I can't see a way forward. I can't even see the bloody sunlight. It's that dim and dark in this hole I'm in. And, you know, you'll listen to someone like me and go, yeah, bullshit, man. I can't see how that's going to happen. It can. It's not overnight. It's not instant, but you can start making change. And once you decide to make that change, then the universe comes into gear with you to say, oh, you don't want this picture anymore? Oh, you're creating a new picture for yourself. What does that look like? Okay, what do I need to provide for this picture? And it will start working with you to start creating and bringing into manifestation this new picture that you're creating. So I want to create a new normal. I want to see a world that has a beautiful dynamic balance of feminine energy and masculine energy in their beautifully healed forms. So we have divine masculine and divine feminine in equal dynamic balance. Just like homeostasis in your body, we need homeostasis in our world, okay? At the moment, we are so far out of balance with masculine energy at the fore, but not only that, it's only half of the masculine energy, and it's the half that is the hard, competitive, dominate, fear-driven, competition-based side of the energy. Any of the protective, nurturing, encouraging, growing, fertility god side of that energy has been long lost, and we need it back. But first we need to bring back the divine feminine, because she's been lost for way too long. And that's why this masculine energy is so damaged and so out of balance. And look at the havoc it's wreaking in our world. Okay, so I'm on my soapbox again about getting these energies back into balance. And to do that, it's up to us as the women in our family situation to say, okay, enough is enough. I need to make sure that me personally, I am looked after, that me and my partner, if there is a partner on the scene, are looked after, and that me, my partner, and my family are looked after, and then me, my partner, my family, my extended family, my community, my city. You can see where this is going. We send that spiral outwards to start healing and making change broader and broader and broader and broader, so that everybody gets to come along. It's not just a privileged white person's journey. This is for everybody, but we are positioned to actually make significant change if we choose to. And Helen, you're saying feminine lost energy has been pushed out because back in ancient days we were powerful leaders of tribes. Absolutely. And, you know, somewhere along the line, the recognition of feminine wisdom, of feminine tradition, of the mystique of feminine power has been lost. And we are in a place now of bringing that back. You know, so many of us are waking up to the fact that the world needs to change. We need to do something to heal the strife that we're in. You know, there's more and more light workers, if you'd like to recognise as that, who are determined to see humanity make a spiritual shift and to see our society make a fiscal shift, because it's not enough for us to just become spiritual beings. When we look at the idea of enlightenment, we often lose sight of the fact, you know, there is a misconception that enlightenment means that, you know, we've made it to the top of a misty mountain somewhere and that we get to sit in splendid isolation and commune with the universe, living in transcendental bliss. In actual fact, what enlightenment means is embodying the divine, embodying the spiritual, embodying the universe in this physical vessel and living on this planet in unity. Okay, so we're no longer separated, we're in unity. So we've got that divine aspect of self recognized, embraced and embodied in our physical vessel, and we live our mundane lives because that's what we're here to do. We're here to experience life on earth as we've manifested it. I don't particularly like the current manifestation, so let's change that. And not just to suit me, of course. You know, I'm not that egotistical. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there who'd like to see a very similar change to what I'm talking about here, if not exactly the same. But yes, we embody that divine aspect of self and bring it down here on planet Earth, and we continue to live our lives and we experience those moments of transcendental bliss. You know, that's our enlightenment. So just another thing to think about as we go on this creative journey together, and look at our paradigm shift. So I just need a drink of water because I am thirsty. It's very hot here in Darwin today, hot and humid. The build-up is starting, but that's okay. I've got the air conditioner on and I've got my dog curled up beside me, luxuriating in the coolness of the tiles with the air conditioner going. He's very spoiled. He's just having a big stretch. So yeah, look, I'm spoiled too. I have a good life, but I want to see everybody having a good life. You know, it's not okay for some of us to be having a reasonably good life and so many of us miserable, and other people, you know, living almost destitute, if not destitute. That's not okay in this day and age, in this society where we're supposed to be humane. It's not okay that we've got homeless people. It's not okay that we've got people living below the poverty line. We shouldn't have a poverty line. You know, there is more than enough for all of us. So let's look at ways to fix that. Okay, so it comes back to you. It comes back to starting with what you have, you making the decision about what you want to change and how you can change it. And if you are interested in trading in the financial literacy that is keeping you treading water in the 96% pool, and you want to jump out of this pool into the 4% pool, I'm actually offering some free 15-minute freedom discovery chats. So if you wanted to take advantage of that and have a chat to me about your situation and some of the changes that you could make that will put you on the pathway of moving out of this pool of the 96% and over into this pool of the 4%, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. All you need to do is just drop the comment freedom below here, and I will get some information across to you straight to your messenger inbox. Okay, so if you'd like to take me up on that, just mention freedom in the comment below, and we can get that happening for you. So in the meantime, I am concerned about seeing so many Australian women starting to feel the bite and ending up couch surfing. And it's not just Australia. You know, there are people all around the world, and it's not just women. But there is certainly an increase in number in that particular demographic who are finding themselves homeless at that point in their life when they had been led to believe that this was a safe time, that they had been working and preparing for the last 20 odd years while they're in the workforce, all of a sudden they're homeless, they're destitute, there is no super, for whatever reason that is. And I touched on that briefly at the beginning, where, you know, whether it's a case of they either weren't in the workforce or they weren't in the workforce for very long, and that they were relying on husband's super that was being accumulated, and for whatever reason that is now not an option, whether that's because husband has died or whether because they're separated or whatever the case may be. Yeah, so we need to change that. And if, you know, the other thing that we need to bear in mind in making this change, it's helping the next generation come better equipped into this world and to continue this shift, to continue this change. And the more momentum we bring to it, the faster it will come about. So for people like myself who have actually gone beyond the halfway point of my working life or your working life, and you are all of a sudden realizing, wow, my age of retirement is sneaking up a lot more quickly than I anticipated. I'm not quite ready. I'm not sure that my super is actually going to do the trick for me. Pop your comment, Freedom, below, and we'll have a chat and see what change there can be made for you. And Helen, you're saying, sorry, that just stopped me a bit. There's a new comment. Helen, you're saying you're in that situation and it has become apparent that each individual has to be financially independent. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head there. It is up to each individual, I believe, to set that goal for financial independence. And even, you know, in the most loving relationships, the most open and trusting relationships, money is something that can be really divisive. And there needs to be open dialogue about this. So, you know, finance is a really taboo subject. It's even more taboo than sex. People are more prepared to talk about their sex life than they are to talk about their financial situation, because there is so much shame, so much guilt, so much fear, so much anxiety tied up into whatever your financial situation might currently be. So now, Helen, I missed, hang on. So we've got here, you're saying because of divorce and other outside influences, yeah, and some taxes and bad business decisions. Yeah, absolutely, you know, and we're human. We go on this journey, we explore the little avenues that come up for us to explore, and we make decisions based on the information that we have at the time. And, you know, yeah, sometimes with the benefit of 20/20 hindsight, we look back on those decisions and say, oh my God, if only I had known then what I know now. The fact of the matter is you didn't know it. You went with what you had at the time and you made the decision. And you just need to be with that, be in a place of acceptance that decisions were made, that you kind of regret them, but carrying the wound of that regret, the trauma of that bad money decision, is just adding to the burden of debt that you're carrying now. And Helen, you're saying the system is not set up to look after you once you are no longer a tax-paying member. Yep, that's right. That's exactly it. And that's kind of where I'm going with this, you know, once you retire, it's expected that your superannuation will look after you until you drop dead. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, we are living a lot longer than we used to. So for many of us, when we reach retirement age, we're actually living 15 to 20 years beyond that retirement age. And our superannuation is actually geared up for like maybe 5 years beyond retirement age. So when you start looking at those sort of figures, have you actually got enough super set up to look after you into your infirm old age? You know, you get through that beautiful, the golden retirement years where everybody gets their little caravan and goes travelling around as a grey nomad. That's not my dream, but, you know, that's a lot of people's dream, and it's a valid dream. And if that's what's getting you through that 9 to 5 grind and paying the bills, that's really important. But just be aware that it might not be enough. It might not be enough. And Helen, you're saying you need about 2.5 million if you retire at 65 to 70. Yeah. The other thing to look at, to keep your current lifestyle. Yeah. And, you know, if you're getting close to your retirement age, you've probably been talking to your financial advisor or to other people about the superannuation system and looking at, you know, well, what is the level of lifestyle that I do want to have, pardon me, when I retire? What are the things I want to achieve? How do I set this up? They're all really valid conversations to have, and I think it's important that you do. But while you're still in the workforce, while you still have room to move, it's really important that you sit back and assess your situation and commit to making change to look after yourself in the here and now, to put you on the pathway to financial independence, and to start looking at how you can care for the future you, the person that's you when you're in your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, when you're actually in your infirm old age and needing care. Because if you've been watching what's in the Australian media at the moment about the aged care industry, it's disgusting. Who's volunteering to retire and be looked after like that? Not me. I would like to have choice on how I'm looked after if I get to be old and infirm like that. If I live to be old enough like that, that's a blessing. I would prefer not to be infirm or in care, but that's often not a choice because, let's face it, our body does have a bit of a use-by date built into it. And Helen, you're saying those figures are for 2 people at that current lifestyle. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, okay, your mum just went into a home. Okay. All right. So, you know, I guess you would have put a lot of care, thought and consideration into what she's receiving, and you were told it was fully covered by pension. Yeah, look, I'm not 100% across the system that's in place, but you just got a $50,000 bill, a $50,000 bill for your mum going into aged care that was supposedly covered by her pension. Right. Well, that is quite a shock. That is quite a shock, and that's something that we need to actually start preparing for now. And it's just having little strategies in place that can help you prepare for the unexpected, to get into a relationship with your future self, to look at what your options are and start educating yourself with a different financial framework. The current one is purely there to keep the current system running the way it is. And that's just not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for you. It's not okay for your kids. And it's not okay for their kids. Can you imagine by the time our kids come through, let alone their kids, what they're going to be facing? Particularly when you start looking at some of the mega trends that are coming through with the baby boomer generation moving into retirement in the next 5 to 10 years. Some have already started. You know, when they start drawing down on their super, that's massive. What's going to happen when it's our turn? Will there be any money left? Who knows? You know, what happens when artificial intelligence really starts stepping into the fore in the workplace and jobs are replaced by artificial intelligence? I mean, look at what's happened in our supermarkets. That just happened, just snuck in, didn't it? You know, the self-serve checkout. That's artificial intelligence displacing people at registers. So there are less people required to be employed, and we actually have displaced people out of jobs to go through self-serve checkouts to use the artificial intelligence option. And there will be a number of professions out there for that to come in. And Helen, you're saying AI will change the entire world in an instant. And you know what? We're not talking 20 to 30 years' time. We're talking 5 to 10 years. It's already coming into place in shopping centres. Singularity. I'm not sure what you mean by singularity there, Helen. You know what? If you want to, if you feel inclined, there is a guest link in the description just above the video. If you are on a laptop, you're best working through the Chrome browser. If you're on a mobile device, you need to download the BeLive app so that you can connect on as a guest. I'd love to have you in for a bit of a chat, even though I am getting close to the end of my 30-minute mark. Yeah, so I'll just give you a couple of minutes there if you want to pop on. Okay, so you actually need to download the BeLive app so that you can access that link and have it work for you. So if you're free next week, maybe we could continue this discussion and you could come on in, because I am at the 30-minute mark and I do like to contain the lounge room chat to 30 minutes so that people who are coming in and joining the replay later, they can be assured that we're not going to run over. So that's great. Yeah, that'd be really cool, Helen. I'd love to have a chat with you to talk about money, to talk about the existing system, and to talk about things that you can do to change it and why it's important to change it. You know, with the way things are going in the world, there is going to be less opportunity for people to be earning income. And the way the system is set up at the moment, if you're not earning income, then you don't have money. And if you don't have money, how are you living? Okay, so this whole idea of trading our time for dollars needs to be addressed. Okay, this idea of you going to work and receiving money in exchange for that so that you can have a nice life once you don't need to work anymore. It's a really strange system. How about we get in control of our money and find out ways to accumulate enough money to send the money out to work for you so that you get to choose how you use your time, how you spend your time, if you like. Okay, so if you want to have a chat about your particular situation, I've got free 15-minute chats on the go. You can just comment freedom below and I'll send you a link so that we can get together and just have a bit of a discussion about what's happening for you. It's completely obligation free, and hopefully we'll be able to identify one of the biggest challenges for you right now and see some step forward for you in those challenges. So Helen, thank you so much for joining today and contributing some of the things that are going on for you at the moment. Be really cool if you have the opportunity to tune in next Wednesday and actually join me as a guest. That'd be wonderful. Thank you also to Katie, who joined in at the very beginning. I hope that you get connected with the people that you're looking for, and if you have any comments that you'd like to make, I would love to hear them. If you've got questions, pop questions in the comments below. I'm Linda MC from Love Lali, and this has been the Lounge Room Chat, and I'll be back here. Thanks, Helen. It'll be really good to have you connect, and thank you for joining in and being here. Thank you. I look forward to the Lounge Room Chat next Wednesday. Bye for now.